I'm just going to check on LinkedIn whether the stream is live and who's following me right now. Oop, yes, it does say that Aziph is live, and we have a couple of people already on. So if you're on board right now and you're watching, welcome. I hope everything's great where you are, and tell me if the audio and the video is coming out fine. Tell me where you're from, where you're tuning in from, and what you do. And if you have any questions, as always, always put it in the chat, and we'll try and address it in the show itself. Tell me where you are from. All right. So welcome again to Grow. I have this show twice a week, and I invite people from all over the world to come in and share their experiences with everyone. We have Robert Berry in the house. Hey, Rob, how are you? And we will bring our guest on right now. So first of all, we have Brandy McCarley. Hey, Brandy.
Hey, how you doing?
I am doing great. Nice to have you on the show. And we also have Will Nelson. Hey, Will.
Good morning, good evening, namaste, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Welcome. Will here speaks many languages, Brandy. So we have to keep up with him.
I'm a polyglot, so I gotta keep up with your audience because you're all from Malaysia. Although Robert's not.
Yeah,
He's from the States.
Robert's not. Yeah, we do have Emmy. She's from Petaling, Subang Jaya in Malaysia. We do have Hazel from the Philippines. Yeah, apa kabar? Hazel, salamat. And we have people from all over the world come to our show, Will. So we come together a couple of times a week to talk about LinkedIn primarily, but we also talk about a lot of other things. So I'd like to start off with Brandy here, and maybe you can introduce yourself to our audience, where you're from, what you do, and all of those good things, Brandy. Go ahead.
Well, hi. My name is Brandy McCarley, and I work in the Memphis, Tennessee market. But don't get it twisted. I'm not a Memphis Tigers fan. I'm a Vol all the way. And what I do is I provide data to business leaders to help them clarify their team dynamics and to make sure that they're putting the right person in the right role.
Wow, that's awesome. And how about you, Will? What do you do, where you're from, and all of that?
Will Nelson. You can call me Willa. I do a lot of different things. I'm a hedge fund manager. I run an artificial intelligence firm, an investment consulting firm, a venture capital firm. I do sabermetrics, which is the mathematics of, I specialize in baseball, and I'm on the board of directors of a few companies. So a little bit of everything. I'm a little bit of pool hustler too.
Yeah, we just learned that you play pool in tournaments, Will.
Yeah, I do. I play around the world, actually. Wow. And I was a professional baseball player. I had a contract signed in 1993 to go to an unspecified team, but I ripped it up so I could go to college, stay in school. And I just got engaged on February 14th.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But other than that, I'm a regular guy. I'm a boring guy.
No, you are definitely not a regular guy, Will. You are a Renaissance man, and I'm glad to have you on board today. So, ladies and gentlemen in the audience, as always, tell me where you're from, what you're doing. We have many people from many parts of the country and the world. We have one of my buddies from Unitar, that's a university, Arif. Hello, Arif. Welcome. We have many people. That Robert Berry, as you know, is not from Malaysia.
Robert's a great guy. Robert's the man, not me.
Yes, he is. Welcome, Robert. So let's start off right now. So Brandy, how do you use LinkedIn, and what is it to you in your business and what you're doing right now?
Well, I primarily use LinkedIn for networking. And so my business is relatively new, so I'm still building, but I use LinkedIn basically to distribute content about my business and for networking and lead generation purposes.
Right. And how long have you been on the platform?
Actually, that's an interesting story because I've been on LinkedIn forever since when LinkedIn first started, but I think they made it a little more user friendly because back then it was so confusing. I remember having my resume on LinkedIn and trying to change my resume, and it was just so difficult to just make simple little changes. So I never really understood the platform. And last year, when I started looking for a new opportunity, everybody was like, "Oh, you have to get on LinkedIn. You have to get on LinkedIn." So once I got on LinkedIn, I kind of figured it was easier to catch on. I think they made some changes that made it a little bit more user friendly. So I've been, posting content and building relationships with different people all across the world.
Right. I mean, they have changed a lot. It's now much more a content play. It's much more social, and it's definitely a lot more interesting. I thought I had joined in 2010, but recently I was looking through my recommendations, and the first recommendation I received from Hasnul was in 2007. So that's, I guess,
Oh
when I
wow.
when I joined LinkedIn. How about you, William? Will, when did you get on the
I
platform?
joined probably about the same time as you. I have to say this to all of your viewers out there: a pet peeve of mine is not reading someone's LinkedIn profile. I can't tell you how many times I get asked for people who want to help me to learn how to invest. And all you have to do in reading my profile is that I've written 5 investing books and I've been investing for 34 years. So, and then I get asked, hey, can I help you out with the math? And I say, well, I have 2 master's degrees and I'm getting a master's of science in applied and computational mathematics. It's one of, I mean, that's one thing I would recommend to all of you guys. Before you talk to anybody on LinkedIn, please, please, please read the profile. You'll save
Yep,
that person a lot of time. You'll save yourself a lot of time, and you'll really be able to make much deeper connections.
exactly.
I get spammed all the time, and that's why I stopped using LinkedIn for a while. But they've gotten a lot better and more targeted. And I think once I put up what I did more specifically in terms of the different facets to my career, I think that really got more. Because if you just have one little thing up there, you'll get spammed a lot. If you have product manager up there, you get spammed all the time. But the algorithms for LinkedIn cannot understand my or Brandy's profile or Aziph's. You need to really exactly explain why you're there. So that would be
Yep.
my suggestion. But I use it for networking. It made me $205,000 this week just by
Wow.
signing a new hedge fund client. So it does work. I would have never gotten that hedge fund client had it not been for LinkedIn. So thank you, LinkedIn, for a couple $100,000.
Wow.
I can go buy my dog a Tiffany dog collar.
I'm sure he'd appreciate that.
You'll love
But
that.
yeah, he'd love it. I can't say how many times people have come up to DM me and say, "Hey, Azif, what do you do?" I'm like, this whole platform is about us showcasing what we do. That's what the profile is all about. So all you got to do is click on my profile and you know what I do. And if you ask somebody that, it just shows that you don't put in the time, or you're a scammer, or you don't know what you're doing. So please don't do that, like what Will said. But what you need to do is have a good profile, right, Brandy? I mean, we're both in Growth Academy, and we get taught how to optimize your profile and make sure that you have an all-star profile. So um, are you, at this point in time, Brandy, really posting regularly? Are you posting daily as recommended?
Oh yes, I'm definitely posting daily, and I'm about to beef my posting up to 2 times a day because I don't. I got connected with this guy named Liam. I
Mhm.
don't. I can't think of Liam's last name, but he's like a LinkedIn expert. I was on a clubhouse room, and Liam and Andy Foote and a couple of different people were on there. And so I've just been following Liam since then. And he uses this software called Shield. And so he always posts people's Shield results like on Saturday or Sunday or something like that. And so somebody's results that he posted from Shield, it was showing that they got a lot of traffic like at night between 7 and 9 p.m. And so I'm gonna start posting, 2 times a day now instead of once. And then I'm also building video content so that I can start posting video because that's the next step. And this is my second. I guess you consider this a podcast. I'm not really sure, but this is this is the second podcast that I've recorded this week. So once my podcast interviews start rolling in, then I'll also be posting clips of those as well.
Nice. It is a progression when you start posting text, then you add pictures, and you add videos, and then you go live. Right now, it's just different ways to engage with your audience. And like William was saying, you need to proper engagement. You need to know about connecting with people and not just spamming people and just saying whatever. So what kind of connections, besides having really great clients come on board through LinkedIn, what other kinds of connections have you made, Will?
Well, besides you, Aziph, you're my most famous client.
He kind of frozen my issues as well.
Yeah, I don't see your picture all that well, but we'll push through, just like you made me listen to your language before.
Go ahead.
I've met people from all around the world. In my business, I'm a cross-asset allocation trader for hedge funds. So I use LinkedIn primarily to get information out about the stock market and what's going on in the business world and what's going on with stocks and that. So if you watch me, I post probably 25 to 50 times a day, depending on what's going on in the stock market. Like today was a big day in the stock market. I met a gentleman who works for the Royal Bank of Scotland, a gentleman who also works for the Reserve Bank of India, and he now tags me on his posts. So you meet all different sorts of people that you would never even think you could even think about. I meet hedge fund managers, I meet scientists. I met a guy, Joshua Skoda. He does TED Talks about saving the climate change. I've met a guy who does podcasts. It's endless the amount of people you can. I wrote a thing about black holes and paradoxes, and I got contacted by all sorts of physicists in that. And I'm doing some work on weather derivatives in Indonesia right now, and I met an atmospheric scientist. So where else are you going to be able to meet somebody who knows atmospheric scientists, has a PhD in it, on LinkedIn? I mean, the guy
Exactly.
is Guan, Dr. Chow, is he's a condensed matter physicist who was a hedge fund manager, and I just happened to run across him on LinkedIn. So you can meet a lot of great people here. Just put yourself out there and don't be afraid to make a fool out of yourself. I made my first video.
Yep.
One of my friends had a book that he is promoting. So I just, all I did is just took a picture of myself holding the book, said a few comments, and that's it. It doesn't have to be fancy. It was about a minute. That's it, short and sweet. And that was my first video.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing what you can get in terms of connections, in terms of really not just surface level connections. You can really make deep connections and make real friends. Like I consider Will a friend here, and Brandy is a friend because we're connected on this platform, and it's just amazing that all of us are talking right now, even through these crazy time zones.
Yes.
Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah. So, what's it like over there? Is it cold? Is it still winter? What's going?
Well, you know what? That's so interesting that you would ask that today because I was talking to one of my relatives earlier, and yesterday it was actually like 70 degrees outside. Which the funny thing about that is about 2 weeks ago it snowed and it was like 10 degrees, and like we were snowed in for like 7 days. we couldn't go anywhere. And so then last week it was like 60 degrees. And yesterday it was 70 degrees. And today it was 46 degrees. So so yesterday you could totally be outside without a coat on. I saw people in shorts and flip flops. And then today it's like you need a jacket and a hat. So that's the Memphis weather for you.
Wow, you know, climate change is real. There's really going crazy, it seems, up and down and up and down. Wow.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
what about in Milwaukee, Will?
Cold is the word for it. Although we got up to like
Cold.
40 some degrees today, I think. But I did my 5-mile run with my dog, and it was nice. See, I can finally say I jog more than the red beard. He only does 5 kilometers. So he's a lightweight.
You do.
He's a lightweight. I try to model my routine after the Navy SEALs, because I was recruited out of high school to be a Navy SEAL, but I never joined up. So I thought, hey, why not do the PT routine? So I still do the 5 miles a day.
Wow.
But the dog loves it. The dog. Can I show my dog on the air?
Go ahead. We'd love to see him.
There's
Where is
Ludwig.
he? Ludwig.
Can you see him?
Wow,
Ludwig.
he's knocked out. He is tired.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, he went on his run. He's 15 years old. So
Wow.
you know, I had to get him on air. I promised my fiance I would do it. So thank you for indulging me, guys. I appreciate it.
No, have him on. Well, as you see in my videos, my cats are always now they're out and about. I guess they follow me on my runs as well. But of course, it's harder for cats, and they only go for a few blocks and then they turn back. Do you have any pets, Brandy? Of course.
No, I don't currently have any pets. Not right now.
All right. So
you want to get one, Brandy? Do you want to get a pet?
I would love to have a pet. I'm partial to Yorkies. I've had 2 Yorkies before. I love Yorkies, so I would love to have another Yorkie or a Maltese. I love those little dogs.
That's great. I mean, you can tell pet people and non-pet people. they're different fundamentally. But we have a great question here. This is from Kaiser Farhan Abidin. It's probably from Malaysia. Any tips to create a good post on LinkedIn? I can see some people repost those contents from other social media, FB, Insta, TikTok, to gain more interaction. What do you think of this trend? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I would say, if I was going to give you a tip to make a good post on LinkedIn, I would just say, be authentic, talk about your business. That's what I do. I talk about my business and I use inspirational quotes sometimes. And then I offer book tips. And then I always do a behind the brand. And that's just to get a good mix and, just kind of show people who I am as a person as opposed to just always constantly posting about business. And as far as that trend is concerned, I think it depends on what the actual post is. Sometimes, if it's something inspirational or something funny that you think can cross over, into LinkedIn, then it's cool to repost from other sites.
Yep. What do you think, Will?
Well, I would have to agree, although LinkedIn doesn't really like that. I know that's one of their pet peeves. They want to keep traffic on LinkedIn. But I would suggest finding whatever trade journal you use and posting stuff from that. Like, for example, I use the Harvard Business Review, CNBC, the Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, Nature, MIT Technology Review. There's Bloomberg Business Week. There's a lot of other Investors Business Daily, Quantum Magazine. Those are all interesting in my field. So if you can find something, and don't just post the article, post your thoughts on it.
Exactly.
And what you can do too is tag people. So tag people that you want to have view the post. That's what one of my friends that I was telling you about from the Reserve Bank of India, he started to tag me on the posts, and I really find them very useful. So if you find a group of people that really value your posts, it's okay to tag 3, 4, 5 people and let them see what you're posting. And you never know who you're going to meet just by doing something like that.
Right.
But I know LinkedIn, they really don't like the Facebook and TikTok and Twitter and all that, which is understandable. It's a business. Microsoft doesn't really like it, but that's okay. I'm actually a competitor to Microsoft, so I don't care. I'm not getting paid by Microsoft. So sorry, Bill Gates and Satya. So
So,
I don't know if you can say that.
yeah,
Go restream. Go restream.
yeah, or restream. you know, content comes from everywhere. And if you're new to LinkedIn, sometimes it can get overwhelming. Where do I get inspiration? Do I need to write everything myself? How much time do I have to spend copywriting and checking my posts and all of that? So it's totally fine to repost from wherever you get inspiration. Of course, always reference and attribute your post where you get it from. On LinkedIn, of course, there's a share button. If Will posts something really good, I could share that post. However, the algorithm doesn't like that either. It says that this is not original content, so it doesn't put that post in front of as many people, as opposed to if I copy everything that Will types in his post and I paste it into my post, but I have a big attribute from on the top. I would say, hey, this post is from Will Nelson and it's an awesome thought. What do you guys think about it? And then I repost that. You could get a lot of views that way. But I think the key thing is that inspiration, wherever you got it from TikTok or Facebook or Insta or whatever, it has to have an emotional connection with you. You must have felt something about it for you to post it, because if there's that emotional connection, then somebody reading it will also find something emotionally attached to it. So if you just post something and don't say anything about it, like Will said, that's not valuable at all. You need to add value. You have to say, I read this in Harvard Business Review or People Magazine or whatever, and it made me think about this or that. And then people can start connecting with you. Because, like Brandy said, she posts about her work. William also posts about whatever field that he's in, because he's in so many different fields. But people will want to connect with you once they know who you are. So, like for me, I'm in corporate culture, I'm in HR. Probably 1 out of 10 posts that I do are about this field that I'm in. The rest is about me, who Aziph is. I go on my runs, I play with my cats, I'm with my wife, and I'm with my kids, because people want to know who I am. Once they're comfortable with me, then whatever I post in whatever field and in whatever context is much more easily relatable to people. So, that's why Will is saying, put yourself out there. Yeah, go ahead, Will.
One of the suggestions I would give is do a personalized invite with someone that you want to connect with. It's rather than them trying to guess why you're trying to post and trying to connect with them, say that you read something in their profile.
Exactly.
Usually that does the trick, because I get so many people that want to connect with me, and I have no idea how and why. But as you can see, I'm a Renaissance man, so it's hard for me to ascertain why someone's trying to connect with me. So use the personalized invite. You have 300 characters, so think of it like a Twitter post, and just say to the person, hey, Aziph, I like your red beard. Can I be your brother? That's what I should have said to you. Although I think you approached me.
Yeah.
But now I'm your brother, your younger brother. Let's get that straight. I want to be time coded. The younger brother and the better looking. The younger brother.
Brandy likes that. But that's a good point, though, isn't it, Brandy? If you want to connect with someone, at least look at their profile first. And when you put in that connection request, have something personalized about that person, because you can't just spam people and say, I want to connect, I want to connect. But there must be a reason, like Will said. Then that connection is there. What kind of weird connection requests have you received, Brandy?
I can't think of any weird connection requests that I've received. But I don't like. I can't say that I don't like. When somebody sends you a connection request, sometimes they don't send a message, but as soon as you accept the request, they want to know if you're familiar with forex or if you know about cryptocurrency. And it's like everybody is trying to get you to join a MLM forex cryptocurrency company, so those, like, I may initially accept them, but then once I figure out that they're trying to do something with forex or cryptocurrency, I'll delete them.
No,
And you can block
that
people
happens
too.
every
You can
day.
block people.
Yeah, I
So
block people because, you know what, there was this guy that was from Nigeria or something, and he sent me a really, really sexually suggestive message, and I was like, "Oh my god!" And like I blocked him immediately. I was like, I didn't know people did this on LinkedIn.
I love your
I
laugh,
mean, I
Brandy. Your
think the
laugh
lady,
is
it is, it's gorgeous. But a few ladies have said that they have received, unwanted attention. I think personally, we should name and shame. We should have a page, a group on LinkedIn, and say these creeps are the ones harassing women on LinkedIn. And name them. Who are these people? What are you doing here? You know, don't mess up this platform for the rest of us. Robert Berry, that's his favorite, is the crypto creeps. You enjoy those, Rob. Yeah. So one thing you don't do, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, you could be on LinkedIn forever or you're new. Do not on your first DM to somebody try and sell them something. Don't tell them to follow you and do this. Go to your other social media and follow you. If you want to build a connection, that's why we're here. We want to know who you are. We don't want to be sold stuff immediately. So, don't do that. It's detrimental to your cause. If you want to increase your selling, don't sell at the start. Build a relationship first. You have anything to say about that, Will?
definitely, that's another pet peeve of mine because most of the people that try to sell it to me, you can tell they're just using an algorithm because they ask to sell me stuff that I should be writing books about. It's just annoying. So please don't do it. And if you'd like to connect with me, I'm more than willing. I accept most every request, but just write a little personalized invite and why you'd like to connect. And please don't try to sell me anything because I'm too busy.
That's true.
My
Yeah, I
fiance
mean,
will kill me.
we're all busy. Thanks, Rob. Red beard rocks. So, Will did ask if this beard is real. Of course, it's a real beard. The color ain't real. Actually, dyeing in the Muslim tradition, dyeing your beard with henna, in particularly, is an ancient tradition that what we say is a sunnah, which means it's a practice of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and he had encouraged people to do it during his time. So when we do it now, it's kind of a throwback to that time, and it's a tribute to him and his traditions that we do it now. So if you see, especially in India, Will, if you go to India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, you'll have ladies with bright orange hair and these old guys with bright orange beards, and this is the tradition they're trying to keep alive, and I'm doing that as well.
That's
That's
great.
amazing.
That's great.
That's amazing. I know they keep calling it red, but I thought it was orange too.
Red beard has a much
Although
cooler ring to it than orange beard.
Tennessee Vine, so orange is okay with me.
either that or apricot, right? Apricot beard.
Yeah, apricot beard. Yeah, so it is orange. It's red when you first put on the henna, and then it turns orange, bright orange. So yeah, but telling people these personal stories is also, I think, quite important on LinkedIn because, like I said, people want to know who the man or woman is behind the things that you do, behind all of the research that you do. Will people want to know who Will Nelson is? And I think a post about your dog, whether she gets a Tiffany color or not, I think would open up, that persona a bit more. A post about your pool hustling what I think really, really, that could go viral. You could get hundreds of thousands of views for that. And then maybe out of those hundreds of thousands of views, maybe a few more of those $200,000 clients, right? So we never know. Clients
Sure.
can come from anywhere, right, Brandy? The bigger the network that you have, the more opportunities of getting customers and getting sales is, which is why we want to build a big network.
And I would say, because I'm a member of Growth Academy as well, and never judge a book by its cover. When you look at the profile, look at the potential, not the person. That's what I always
Exactly.
say. Look at the potential, not the person. Because someone like me, I couldn't get into any Ivy League schools. I had a hard time in baseball. I could have been a professional basketball player too, but I was the wrong color, unfortunately. That got a lot of grief for it. So never judge a book by its cover. Always look at the person's school, try to find some connection. And if somebody only has, they're only in school, give them a shot because, someone gave you a shot. Plenty of people gave me a shot, and that's why I'm here where I am today. So I'm very thankful to all the people who have given me a shot and all my clients out there that have entrusted me with their money and with their, building products and services for them. That's I'm very honored by that. But someone gave me a shot when I was younger. So, that's probably one advice I could give, especially maybe you could plug your leadership thing that you're doing in Malaysia, because I think that's important for all the kids to hear how they can use LinkedIn and not to be afraid to approach someone like me.
Exactly. I've had so many students come up to me, and especially since I've collaborated with Ayu Shahira. She's a very young lady who's really going places. She's 23 years old. She's just worked professionally for 9 months, and she's works with BP now. But she has grown. My goodness, since she joined Growth Academy, she went from 10,000 followers to 16,000 followers in less than 2 months, in a month and a half. So she 50% growth in her followership. For me, I started off with about 2,000 followers in August of last year, 1,005 maybe. Then I started posting every day. And then by October, I had doubled that to about 3,000. And since I joined Growth Academy in February, I have quadrupled that now to 12,000. So it's just, there's a system to it, just like what the stuff you're doing, Will. There is a hard way and an easy way to do stuff. You have to break your own way and create your own path, or you can, follow behind somebody who has created that path and has known, has shown you what to do. So just like Shanae is teaching us so many incredible things of how she grew from zero to 850,000 followers now. She knows what works and what doesn't. So, if you follow a path already created by someone, it doesn't necessarily make it the best way to do it. But if you want to, go somewhere fast, uh, get guidance, I would say.
What are some of the tips that you have received from Shanae that has helped you grow your following so fast?
Well, one of them is the show. When she saw my profile, she saw that I already produce video content, and she said the next step is live, because once you go live, and there's mathematics behind it as well. Will, if you put out a 2 minute video, which is probably the sweet spot, 2 minutes of video, probably the max that you can go. Some people will watch it. So if 100 people watch that, you have 200 minutes interaction with 100 people. But if you have a live that we're doing now, and we could be live for 60 minutes, so one person would have connected with us, the three of us, for 60 minutes as opposed to 2 minutes if it was just a 2 minute video. So the numbers just make more sense. The recording is on your profile, people will come and look at it again, and it also creates that credibility that you have a show, you have a podcast, like you said, Brandy. I haven't turned it into a podcast yet. What I'm doing is I'm downloading all of the audio and then editing that down, and then eventually gonna post it on Spotify and all the podcast platforms. And then there's another platform to engage people. So that to me was one of the key insights that she gave, and that was from a one-to-one meeting that I had with her.
And why did you choose YouTube?
Well, YouTube was just because I'm using Restream, and I have to thank Restream for this, for providing me this platform as well. I'm in their influencer program, so they did give me a professional license. But YouTube is just so easy for me to stream it out now. So, for example, it's live on LinkedIn. It's also live on YouTube. I could have streamed live to Facebook and up to 30 different channels simultaneously. It's just that I'm not on Facebook. But if there were other platforms, Twitch or whatever, fits your profile, you could actually stream up to 30 different channels simultaneously. So that just, exponentially grows your reach to other platforms. So that's why I'm on YouTube as well.
Just for my benefit, because I'm more of a hardware guy, but can you talk about how much you spent on some of that equipment you have there? Just because I think it looks very professional. But I mean, you got it for very inexpensive, and unfortunately we had some difficulties with Brandy.
I'll take the camera down here. So I don't have expensive equipment, Will. So this camera I'm using is called a Tron Max. I think it costs about 50 ringgit. I do use a what's this called? A C1 Behringer mic, and this mic came with this Euphoria UM2. What's this called? It's a audio interface. What that does is helps connect it to the computer. So the mic, the headphone, this headphone, Behringer headphone, and the audio interface all cost, I think it was less than 500 ringgit, probably about $100 US. And we just set up this little office. It's actually it's pretty cool. It was a space that was unused on top of my staircase. And so we built this platform and it's become my office. Then we have my laptop that's connected to two screens with a little stand, and that's all I have. Actually, it's a desk with a fan because it gets really hot in Malaysia, and two screens, and that's the setup. It's not that complicated.
I think that's what I wanted the point to get across, is that you spend a little bit of money on yourself. Think of it as an investment, and don't worry about the money. That's what I would say too about books. Get yourself if you're in business, the Wall Street Journal should be a must. Pick it up, at least the weekend edition, because you'll find so many ways that you can connect with people. Spend the $2. Get yourself, if you're waiting, going to the bus, or you're waiting, trying to get in the car. Read it at lunch. Spend the money on yourself. Just make an investment in yourself. It really pays dividends, and start to think about how you can make investments in yourself.
That is so important. Yeah.
$80.
Right, exactly. So, Brandy, I guess that's what you tell your clients as well. I mean, if they don't invest in themselves or in their businesses, it's tough to grow, isn't it? I mean, you need help. So we need to invest, get the support that we need, and like Will said, invest in yourself first, so that you have a better chance to grow. What is it that you help your clients with, Brandy?
Well, I provide data to basically help my clients in their hiring process to make sure that they're hiring the right people and putting the right people in the right role that can really drive the organization. So the way that I do that is with a data assessment model. We measure people based on 7 work-related traits. We don't measure anything clinical. We don't measure any intelligence. We strictly measure work-related traits. And so with that, we can demonstrate the way that people think, and we can demonstrate the way that they behave, so that if you're making a good hiring decision for your company culture, and also a good hiring decision for that particular role.
Wow. So again, the company needs to invest in getting that data to make sure that they make the best decisions. So personally as well, as an individual, you need to invest, like Will said, either in books or in publications or magazines, or something, for example, like Growth Academy. It doesn't cost that much. It's just a small investment on you, so that you have access to people like Brandy and Will. I think for me, the most important thing about Growth Academy to me is this network of really committed individuals that you can just ask help from. I mean, people are so kind and so giving, and as well as people to learn from. I think that's the most important thing, to have a group of people that are committed to growing and learning. What do you think, Will?
Well, I think that's very, very true. It took me 6 months before I started with Growth Academy. I'm very glad that I did it. My LinkedIn profile is top notch, so I don't have to worry about that. But I love the people like Robert, great guy. It's just, and meeting you, Aziph, and now meeting Brandy. You can't meet people like this. It helps to have people with a similar mindset so that you can bounce things off of, and you know that you're
Right.
not. You know, Sometimes it can be daunting by yourself. Networking is not easy. Networking is hard work.
Exactly.
But if you have a group of people who you're connected with, who can give you motivation, and you can get compliments from them. Like Kusna. Kusna was talking about compliments. I've gotten many compliments, which feels good, but I also like to give them. So if you need a community so you can give people the compliments and get compliments and get constructive feedback, because constructive criticism is very difficult to receive. But once you start getting it in a safe environment, you'll be much more successful.
Right.
That's all I would have to say. I don't know, Brandy, what would you add or subtract?
I definitely agree with you. Constructive criticism. I don't even know who came up with that term, but even the terminology sounds like something negative. Criticism. No one wants to be criticized, but when you give feedback, that's something different because feedback comes with solutions. Criticism just comes with basically insults without any true solutions. But when you give people constructive feedback, you let them know what they've done really, really well and things that they may be able to work on, but then you also help them develop an action plan for how to work on those particular things.
Exactly. So that's a great definition of that as well. But these difficult conversations are something that we need to learn how to have. We need to learn how to accept as well as give this feedback that you're talking about, Brandy. So if you guys don't know, in a couple of days, on the 8th of March, is actually International Women's Day. This is celebrated all around the world. So I am heavily involved at the moment with a organization called the 30% Club. And what we do is we promote companies to hire more women in their top C suites, as well as put more women on boards of public listed companies. So we're going around and talking to CEOs around the country to make sure that more women are on corporate boards. So the theme for this year is choose to challenge. So we're promoting that people challenge inequalities, people that are not diverse, policies that hold people back and are not equitable. And the pose that I'd like my guests to take today is the official choose to challenge pose, which is just write your right hand up. If Will and Brandy can put your right hand up, I'll try and take a screen cap right now. Hello. Happy International Women's Day. And we hope that all of you can follow. Thanks, Will. Okay, done. Thanks, Brandy. And we're posting out pictures of us in this pose because we want to
Sure.
promote the International Women's Day for this year.
And I would encourage all executives to be like me and maximize stakeholder value. I have a diversity committee, and I have diverse opinions from all over the world. And I have a couple women on my board of directors, a couple women on my strategic advisory committee. It's very important to get people from different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different religious viewpoints. It just helps. Like look at Brandy with me using the word criticism. To me, I just use that, and it doesn't mean anything, but to her, it meant something else.
Right.
So something as simple as that, I would be alienated 50% of my audience by using the word criticism.
Yep,
So just You have an example of it right there. Thank you, Brandy. I'll
Yeah.
use the word feed from now on.
Exactly. Exactly. I use the word "hey guys" all the time until I was really into it, and I discovered that some people do feel that "guys" is an exclusive term. It's not inclusive because it traditionally refers only to men. Of course, right now most of us consider it an inclusive term, but still some people feel alienated by using "hey guys." So I try and remind myself to use "hey everyone" or "hey y'all." That is more inclusive. Even though we don't say that in Malaysia, but I'm
You
happy.
probably don't hear it.
Hey,
I've
y'all.
never heard of Malaysia use that term. Although in Memphis,
So where did
Memphis,
you learn it? You learned that term in the South somewhere? Where'd you learn that term from?
Sorry.
I
Oh, I
said, where did
mean,
you learn from? Did you get it from the South in the United States or
yeah,
something? Because that's mostly where people use that word.
I know. Well, content generally, what we consume comes from the United States, right? Comes from Hollywood and comes from American TV shows. And at least Netflix is a bit more inclusive now that it has content from all over the world. But, just watching cowboy movies, I guess. Y'all.
yeah,
Funny.
But it is more, sorry, I was just
Yeah,
going to say it is more inclusive in that sense.
it is.
yes.
I always try to stay away from using that word because I always wanted to try to sound a little more professional and to sound less country, so to speak, because I'm from a very small rural area. But I did a legislative internship when I was in college, and all the state senators and representatives, some of them were from even more rural areas than I was. So I was like, oh, okay, well, this is the fine. I can use this term because in my region it's culturally accepted. So I use that term as well.
But I would always say to know your audience, because I admit if I hear people say y'all, I automatically put them in a category of being less educated, and it's just me. I'll be honest, making quick stereotype.
Yeah,
Um,
it's an
you know,
unconscious bias.
it's an unconscious, right, exactly. So always when you're speaking on LinkedIn, always use be yourself and authentic, but be careful with your word choice.
Yeah.
That would be my advice to people out there.
Right. Great. So in this
Yeah.
last couple of minutes, sorry, Brandy,
I
go
think
ahead.
for that, and you're right, Will. I think one of the reasons why I never like using that term, my mentor when I was a kid, she was a school teacher, and she would always correct us whenever we used the term y'all, and she would say you all. I could always remember just hearing her say that. So you're absolutely right.
Right. So, speaking of strong women, I have to promote this show that I'm having on Tuesday with Puan Sri. Can I show this? Hold up. Tiara Jacquelina. For Malaysians and people in the region, they will definitely know who she is. Tiara Jacquelina produced a movie, and that is me, Will. I do. I was
Oh,
in our traditional garb. This is, of course, a composted image, but that was one of her images from her movie called Putri Gunung Ledang. It was a traditional Malay legend, and she turned it into this world-class movie that was gorgeous, beautiful cinematography, wonderful music. And this was produced, I think, 12 years ago, but it is still considered one of the landmark movies that's ever come out from Malaysia. So I'm so excited to have her on my show on the 9th of March. And we'll be talking movies and of course, women's rights as well. She's a strong women's rights advocate. But we do call her Puan Sri, and Puan Sri in our culture is honorific title that was conferred by the Sultan. So I would be remiss if I don't call her Puan Sri. Her name is Tiara Jacquelina, but I call her Puan Sri Tiara Jacquelina, and Puan Sri is equivalent, something almost equivalent to the British lady, which is as a title, right? So that's what that is. Last thing I want to show you is this beautiful breakfast my wife made, and I hadn't had a chance to eat yet. So I'll show you what traditional Malay breakfast looks like. It's rice, It's called Nasi Dagang. It's from the east coast of Malaysia. It has fish curry like. And there's this is called laksam. It's from a state called Kelantan in Malaysia. And what it is, it's kind of a noodle with a thick coconut sauce, I guess you'll call it. I don't know what it's called, but it's delicious and I can't wait to have it. So, ladies and gentlemen, our show is almost over. I'd like just to give this last couple of minutes to my guests, starting off with Will Nelson, to kind of summarize and recap what we talked about today. Go ahead, Will.
Thank you, Aziph, and very nice to meet you, Brandy. I'm glad we got you on board. I was a little worried that we weren't going to have any time with you. I just wanted the audience to remember again to try to remember to use LinkedIn to your advantage. Try to think about what you're doing. Be very deliberate. Be very calculated in your moves. But don't get disheartened. You're going to have hard days. You're going to have hard weeks. You're going to have hard months. It took me about 13 years to get up to 3,400 followers. I've been adding a lot more now, but it took me 13 years. So don't be disheartened and follow smart people like Aziph and Brandy. That's the best advice I can give you.
Thanks so much, Will. That's great advice right there. And how about from you, Brandy?
I would just say to the audience to, be consistent in your posting. Also, engage with people. Don't just post your content and not engage with others. Make sure that you're engaging on other people's content as well. That's how you build community. So once you engage with them, then they'll, hopefully in turn, they'll engage with you and put thoughtful comments. I know a lot of times people will just comment, great post, Brandy, but put something thoughtful to whatever you're commenting on so that you can really add to the conversation and move the needle forward. And just, be consistent and authentic and, show some transparency, show people who you are.
Wonderful. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is our show for today. We are so grateful that you are tuned in and asking great questions and commenting. If there's any comments in the chat that we didn't have a chance to cover, we will go back and look at those comments and try and answer them. Please do be connected to William and Brandy and everybody in the chat today. There are wonderful people here who really are interested in growing themselves and growing their connections. They're wonderful people to be connected to. Please stay safe as always and take care of yourselves and your families and stay kind. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. See ya. Assalamualaikum.